Your ears do not deceive you. You have just entered the Cryptid Creator Corner, brought to you by your friends at Comic Book Yeti. So without further ado, let's get on to the interview.
Hey, comics fam, short and sweet here. We have a Patreon, so if you want to help us keep the lights on and spread the good word, you can drop a small tithe in the offering plate at Cryptid Creator Corner Pod over there. Membership starts at $1 per month, and we've got some great extra footage from the podcast dropping soon over there. Link in the show notes, and thank you for your continued support.
Thanks for your donation.
Do you love sci-fi? Are you a horror fan? Maybe you prefer action or fantasy. 2000 AD has it all and should be on your radar. With a whole universe of characters from Judge Dredd and Strontium Dog to Rogue Trooper, Shakara Halo Jones, and many more, every weekly issue you get 5 action-packed thrills from incredible creators such as Garth Ennis, Rob Williams, Alex DeCampi, Dan Abnett, and so many others. Get a print subscription and it'll arrive to your door every week. And your first issue is free, or subscribe digitally. Get free back issues and download DRM-free copies of every issue for just $9 a month. That's 128 pages of incredible comics every month for less than $10. That's like a whole graphic novel's worth. All subscribers get amazing offers like discount vouchers and exclusive product offers. Head to 2000ad.com and click on subscribe now, or download the 2000AD app. And why wait? Start reading today. I'll put links in the show notes for you.
Hello, and welcome to Comic Book Yeti's Cryptid Creator Corner. I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy Gasparo, and I'm very excited to talk to today's guest. I feel like this has been a long time coming because when one of their, I don't know if it was one of their earlier series, or at least when I first heard about it, Shit Show, I was like instantly, I thought it sounded like a great concept. I wanted to make sure I got it. I have, all 3 issues, and I've also followed the comics that they've kickstarted since that time. We're going to talk about another one that he is going to have out in early May. But I am very excited. It feels like this is like a long time in the making. But please welcome to the podcast, Adam Barnhardt. Adam, how you doing
Thank you,
today?
thank you. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing splendiferous now.
All right. Yeah, it's funny. I record these on a laptop, so I can't show it, but I have my
Yes.
I have stickers on my laptop, including I have the Shit Show logo sticker, as well
Mm,
as Legend in his
yes.
inebriated state
Yes. Yeah, those
sticker on my laptop.
yeah, we it's funny. I ordered those stickers like January 2020, I believe.
Wow.
Because I'm like, okay, well, we'll send those out March 2020 when Shit Show number 1's supposed to come out. And then the pandemic happened. And I
Yeah.
think number 1 ended up coming out Um, November or December of that year? Might have
Oh
been
wow.
December because it was right around my birthday and Christmas.
Okay.
Well, I had distributed all these shit show stickers a good 10 months before the comic actually came out, and nobody could pre-order it or anything at the time. But yes, you got one of the very first shit show stickers.
I'm very honored that I have that, because I really loved it. And
Thank
I
you.
was, I think I talked about it, on social media when it first came out, because I was a big fan of it and really liked the story. Um, also, I really like the concept of it in the story, and it's one of these things. I think superheroes, like outside of the big two, like independent comic superheroes, and I said it before on the podcast, I think are like really tough to do. I think it can be a tough sell because there's
Mhm.
so many big two, superhero like capes and kind of stories. I think you really have to have something special for it to kind of like catch on or make an impact. Um, and I really feel like Shit Show did.
Thank you.
Not just because of like the language and the cursing. Like I love the concept of the story. I love this guy who is essentially all powerful, more or less, and has just been beaten down when we first meet him, and all like now he's got these kids counting on him, and
Mhm.
he's trying so hard, and it's just he turns to the bottle because he he can't really deal with the fact that he feels like he failed and he feels like he doesn't know how to continue to, exist in this world. I really loved it. I thought the art was a lot of fun, and I think also like le- Letter Squids lettered
Yes.
it right,
Yeah.
and I just his work in it is
It's
incredible.
incredible, man.
I mean, the lettering's wild. I mean, it is just like the special effects. It it's all over the place in like the best possible way. Like there's such a kinetic energy to those 3 issues. So I was like, so instantly I was a big fan right off the bat. And then, you've continued for anyone that doesn't know to kind of like, build out this world. A lot of the other things you've written all kind of take place
Mhm.
in this same world with a different focus on it. Ooh, there was like the shit show shorts. There you had the whole macabre Mel story, Moonspawn and the Defenders of the Dark, which all of the stuff I really liked.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of think when I backed the one on, I want to, I'm gonna, I know I want to get the name of the artist right, but I think it was the shorts one that I backed, and you had a couple of different covers for it, and they all of them were really, really great. And actually, maybe it was the Moonspawn one, but yeah, you've just done. I mean, just some of the work in all of these to build out this kind of universe I've absolutely loved. Yeah, it was the Moonspawn one. I have the Snake Root, the
Yes.
Wan Angel cover that I
Yeah, One
just
Angel, he's
oh
yeah, so I just got these too. If you can't for the
oh
audio listeners, the House of Haunts just got in and he's suddenly become one of my favorite characters.
oh
And
yeah. I love that. Sure, I loved that little, like, a prelude, like, of his story,
yeah,
the Snake Root story, and, yeah, I love that cover by Juan Angel. It's just his he takes Snake Root it just takes up, like, the whole
yeah,
page, and it's absolutely gorgeous, but, yeah, for listeners, I recommend all of these. I if you read digitally, I and you have, like, a global comic
yes.
subscription,
Yep.
I went and reread everything, today, um, just to kinda get caught back up and remind myself. But yeah, the snake root story where, like, the hunters run from
Yeah.
him and the one is essentially impaled, and he's, like,
Well,
calling the guys like, "Hey, we'll get you some help, buddy." It's just I just there's a sense of humor to a lot of the stuff too, even
mhm,
in the darker material. But, in any event, I absolutely, love all the stuff, and,
thank you.
so why don't you just because I've been kinda talking about things, the listeners, I don't want them to be kept too long in the dark. Can you just give us, like, a little overview in terms of how you describe the world of Shit Show and the McCoys? And then we'll talk about Lost Son number 1.
Yeah, so, I mean, you pretty much hit every beat, man. It was funny, so when we were starting to pitch, Shit Show number 1, um, the publisher that picked it up, Scout Comics, on the website at the time said they don't dabble in superhero stuff, but I submitted anyways and didn't really expect anything of it, you know?
Right.
We pitched it to anyone who had open submissions, so Scout, Image, Dark Horse, they always have rolling submissions. I didn't expect to hear anything back, and lo and behold, a few months later, I got an email. I had totally forgotten, that I had even submitted it to Scout, and they're like, "Hey, if this is still available, we wanna publish it." And that I remember exactly where I was. I was going into the deli to get, an order of chicken strips and mashed potatoes and gravy. I remember the exact moment, and I damn near crapped myself. But no,
That's
essentially picked it up, as the guy would tell me, they essentially picked it up on name alone, or at least that piqued their interest.
okay.
Um, and then once they saw, Samir's line art, Warnia did the colors. She's doing Mad Cave stuff now. She's doing I think she's on some Image books. Then, of course, squids, man. Anything squids touches is gold. Um, it was really the complete package, and I think I lucked out because that was the very first thing I'd ever pitched. Um,
Wow.
Seriously, at least I had done comic beforehand, and I was talking to a publisher that I'll never ever name, and they wanted to publish it, but that just kind of fizzled. It was called Killennials, about a bunch of millennials that it was like Dexter meets The Office. It was a workplace comedy, dark type of stuff. But anyways, I
Okay.
digress. So I started with Shit Show. I was actually how we got the ball rolling for it. In a previous life, I was an entertainment journalist. And I was actually talking to Rob Paulson, the original crap, who'd he voice on Turtles? Raphael, I believe, on the original Ninja Turtles. Carl from Jimmy Neutron. He's done dozens and dozens of voices, and we were talking, and he gave me this super motivational speech about how he, at the time was battling throat cancer, which isn't necessarily I mean, nobody wants cancer, but throat cancer is especially detrimental to, someone who
Yeah.
makes a
A
living
voice actor.
with voice
Sure.
actor. But he gave me this super inspirational speech, and I was talking, about how, I'm trying to write comics, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And no, he's like, "Man, just get off this call and go write the damn comic." So I did. I wrote, pretty much a treatment for all 3 issues in the hour after that chat, and then I scripted
Wow.
from there, and I just blew through it, man. I knew I wanted the initial concept was, what happens if the Gallaghers from Shameless had superpowers? But I didn't want the main character to be like Frank, who's just a huge piece of shit. He needed to have some qualities to him. So I hit the ground running, and I don't even remember. Man, now it had to be like late 2015, 2016 somehow.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I don't even remember how I came in contact with Samir and stuff. Everything's been through social media, man. Whether it's connecting comic book writers and artists on Facebook or searching like sequential artists on Instagram. So yeah, we did Shit Show. That came out. That sold way more copies than I ever thought. And I actually got a royalty check from it. And I'm like, damn, maybe this comic thing's fun. I can't quit the day job yet.
Right.
I got
Yeah, because you talk to like, a lot of folks in comics, and especially for their first series that's picked up by a publisher, it's not too I can tell you, not too many of them are actually getting a royalty check.
yeah,
If you ever look at the numbers like that Big Bang Comics or something puts out, and like you look at the actual sales numbers, it's like, Batman, 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 Venom, Batman,
yes.
like
Yeah, and no, I haven't gotten a royalty check since. So that was that
well,
was my
you got
one
one.
memory.
You got one.
I got one. But yeah, man, so I we did Shit Show, and then kinda at the same time, I'm like, "Damn, comics cost a good chunk of money to make," you know?
Yeah.
So I started kinda wanted to do anthologies while simultaneously, fell into the trap of wanting to craft MCU post-credit scenes, but in the form of comics, which I don't recommend. So I wrote some short stories of things I kinda liked, and eventually I'm like, "Well, these kinda all fit the mold of a superhero universe." And someone had recommended at the time, I had never done Kickstarter, and someone's like, "Well, why don't you just package all of these 4 short stories?" I think it was like 32, 36 pages or so. Package it and try Kickstarter, and I did, and it got like 3 grand, I think. That was my very first Kickstarter project. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and that became Shit Show Shorts number 1 because I had no idea what the hell to call it. There's in there there's a story about Lucifer's fall from heaven. There's a story set in like Prohibition America with like these pulpy type superheroes.
Right.
What else is in that one? One of Oh, yeah, one of Macabre Mel after, she's killed, spoiler alert for a five-year-old comic in Shit Show, and
Mhm.
then the last one is oh, the setup for Lost Son, which we are
For a
finally
Lost Son, yeah,
visiting
you have
5 years.
right, you have one
Yeah,
with Ra.
yeah, yeah, with the Egyptian god of Ra and, an ancient Egyptian superhero. So I was Shit Show shorts, and then I just kinda wanted to flesh it out, man. Most of the stuff, I've written to date is like, what would I do if I wrote this big 2 character? And I write it. Keepers of the Cosmos, was essentially my take on what if I could tell, um, my Nova Corps story or Green
Mhm.
Lanterns, or Guardians of the Galaxy, something of that nature, and that's the story that resulted in Keepers of the Cosmos Volume 1.
Right.
The same goes for Knock. We just got done. I don't know, the time blends together. Yes, we just got done with the Knock number 2 Kickstarter, in February, March. So we'll be fulfilling that soon, but that's again, what if I wanted to write Daredevil and Green Arrow at the same time? If that story works. So that's kind of my thought process on this. Everything I've written is very much standalone. While at the same time they'll have, Easter eggs and stuff. Of course, if while you can jump into Macabre Male Wicked Salvation, and it hopefully, knock on wood, stands decently enough on its own. It does help if you read Shit Show Volume 1 and stuff.
Yeah, having just read it again today, yeah, I mean, I think it does read fine on its own, but having read Shit Show, 1 to 3, and then read all of that, you know, it really kind of fleshes out her story. Yeah, and Moonspawn, and the Defenders of the Dark is kind of like, Justice League Dark kinda gave me, like,
Yes.
some of those vibes, but I think that's probably my favorite outside of the original Shit Show. I just really like all the setups in it, like, you really kind of build who all of these folks are before they kind of not quite, you know, come together, like, and,
No.
I really like the mix of characters. I like and also you work with a lot of different artists, so, like, there's very different art styles at times, which I think is a lot of fun. I also like, seeing how Snake Root, because he's treated differently, uh 'cause I think he shows up in, like, one of the later stories, like, when they all come together done by a different artist, and I kinda like seeing that different style of him, of that character. But yeah, I'm gonna forget his name, even though I just read it, but the bug character, the story with the wasps,
Yes, Crisis, yes.
yeah, I really like that guy, and, yeah, the couple, the guy that shoots obsidian from his
Yeah,
hands,
Doctor Obsidian and Lady Lucid, yes.
yeah, Doctor Obsidian and Lady Lisa. I love all of your names for all of
Me
your
too.
characters too. They're, they're that I really get a kick out of that. But yeah, that's kinda like, it's see to me, it was you have a character who kinda deals in magic. Her dad went to the terrorscape, and now she kind of, like, has to put together, uh, her own little team to go after him because whatever he's doing could, you know, destroy the
Mhm.
world. Um, but I really, it's things that are familiar, anyone who's read a bunch of Marvel and DC and, have come up with these stories of, oh, they're facing the end of the world, or they have to do this, or they have to do
Mhm.
that. But I feel like there's such a authentic, like, sense of humor and a very, like, adult attitude that you don't get out
True.
of a lot of the big 2 stuff, which is what I really like about it. But it's also not to like, like it doesn't go too far, where it's something like because 'cause you're not just, like, recreating The Boys, you know? It's its own thing, and it sits in a place where I really like the level of action, humor, and storytelling. And
Yeah.
I like the artists that you work with. You've worked with some really great artists. You work with Roland Callnans, who is really good.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit, so I'm a big fan with all the different stuff that you've done. How have you liked, you know, the Kickstarter experience? Because having to, do you have a family and a day job and then run a
Yes.
Kickstarter? As I'm learning right now for the first time, I'm like right now this month running a Kickstarter, and yeah,
We
it's a
should be
lot.
asking you, man. How's your first it's not good on the heart, is it?
Now, I mean, I feel better about. I feel if I had a bigger goal, I'd be really super duper sweating
Mhm.
it. I mean, I'm doing an anthology, um, and I have had a lot of the stories done. Like if I
Mhm.
was trying to recoup like every penny I put
Yeah.
out over the past 4 or 5 years making these stories, I would really be sweating it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just I had a what I thought was like a lower, more modest goal just because this was something I wanted to do and kinda dip my toe in. So, I just to kinda learn the ropes a bit about it. But yeah,
It
it's a
it's
lot.
something else, man. It's so much hard work, man, and, I a lot of people, when they think comics, they're like, "Oh, man, I wanna write a 4-issue miniseries, or I wanna write this 12-issue maxi series." Just like, man, just if you can survive one Kickstarter, let's start there because that's a huge achievement in your own right. Making it through a Kickstarter and getting to print a single comic is um plenty, that's plenty successful right there.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
I learned very early on to stop refreshing the damn page, because the Kickstarter bar does this thing where it, like, goes forward, then lags behind, so you're like, "Oh, man, what the hell?" I learned that very early on. But I think especially with the new distribution woes and all of the stuff going on now in the direct market, it's going to make a lot more sense for at least indie creators to, go through Kickstarter. Um unless unless you're, the Jason Aaron's or the Scott Snyders of the world who made their name at the big two and can do whatever they want with Image or Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Um, I think Kickstarter's the best bet, because you look at Diamond and Diamond had its fair share of small presses it would distribute. Um, and that may be going away. That may be sticking around. Who knows? But either way, I would say Kickstarter's probably plenty healthy considering the world we live in at the moment. It's all relative. But yeah, like you said, having the art done before the Kickstarter, I have never done a Kickstarter to raise money for the art. Um, just because I know it's a pain in the ass to pay for all that in advance, but man, I can't imagine having to do that and deal with deadlines and try getting it out on time and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I agree. Also, I feel like, because I've thought about that, like, in order to try and fund it, like, alright, if I just write the script and pay for, 5 or 6 preview pages, but I know it would absolutely if, like, I didn't make the goal, I know it would drive me,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
wild that I had this script done, these
Mhm.
5 or 6 pages, and it wasn't, it wasn't complete. I think that would, like, kinda drive me a little batty,
Yeah, absolutely.
so there's that element of it too.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Let's face it, the comics landscape is a mess right now. I'm the editor in chief of a comics journalism outlet, and I can't even keep track of it all. If you are as passionate as I am about indie comics and its creators, you should check out the Lantern Guide. Created on the premise of creating light in the dark, it's going to be the go to resource to keep you up to date on the projects and the creators that you love. Don't take my word for it. I reached out to my friend Brian Lovell, Poison Ivy artist and indie comics creator, to get his take. Brian, what does the Lantern Project fix?
I'm a dude who loves indie comics, and I know personally, like, I get very frustrated when something shows up in my social media timeline or something like that, and I feel like I can't keep track of everything. So, really, the Lantern Project was born out of that. It was an opportunity for me as a reader to kind of like have a place to want to consolidate all the stuff that I wanted to read, all the cool projects from cool creators that seemed interesting and kind of unique to like something that I would like, which is really not super represented everywhere else, but it's all over the indies. Having a spot to go to that felt like it consolidated a lot of those audiences and a lot of those places where I couldn't just get drowned out in the feed of social media was seemed really valuable to me.
What's the ultimate goal?
It's really our hope with this project that creators feel like they're able to get in front of readers, and readers are able to get books that they actually want to read with a much easier time of keeping track of them and accessing them.
Catalog is scheduled for a quarterly release, so head over to thelanterncatalog.com to sign up now so you don't miss your next favorite thing. I'll put a link in the show notes for you. Y'all, Jimmy, the Chaos Goblin strikes again. I should have known better than to mention I was working on my DC Universe meets Ravenloft hybrid D&D campaign on social media. My bad. He goes and tags a bunch of comics creators we know, and now I have to get it in gear and whip this campaign into shape so we can start playing. Another friend chimes in, "Are you going to make maps?" It's fair to say it's been a while since I put something together, so I guess? Question mark? It was then that I discovered Arkenforge. If you don't know who Arkenforge is, they have everything you need to make your TTRPG more fun and immersive, allowing you to build, play, and export animated maps, including in-person Fog of War capability that lets your players interact with maps as the adventure unfolds while you, the DM, get the full picture. Now I'm set to easily build high-res animated maps, saving myself precious time and significantly adding nuance to our campaign. That's a win every day in my book. Check them out at arkenforge.com and use the discount code YETI5 to get $5 off. I'll drop a link in the show notes for you, and big thanks to Arkenforge for partnering with our show. I think I'm going to make Jimmy play a Goblin Warlock just to get even. Welcome back.
So you've kind of been building out this world, and you focused on some other things other than the McCoys for a little bit, but now we're back.
Now we're
The
back.
the the new Kickstarter, the one that's gonna be out in early May, and I'll have a link, so when this episode comes out, you can go to the link, and you'll either be able to sign up for the pre-launch if it hasn't launched yet, or listeners, you'll be able to go right to the page to check it out. Um, but this is Lost Son #1, and now you were kind enough to send me a bit of a preview for it, and I was very excited to see we're back. We're focused on the McCoys again. Um, what can you tell me without spoiling, too much? What can you tell the listeners about what the McCoys are facing with Lost Son #1?
Absolutely. So how I'm viewing it as Shit Show was by and large Rich McCoy's story, with some Bridget sprinkled in there here and there. So moving forward, I kind of view the next each of the volumes to focus on one of the other McCoy kids. So volume two, Lost Son, looks at thrust Ash, who's essentially our Human Torch, into the spotlight. Then we have a shapeshifter, Wilson, who will be featured in Volume 3, and then Volume 4 will be Gina slash Encore, and that might be one of the most favorite things I've ever written. But anyways, that's probably 20 years in the future. Let's talk about Lost Son. Lost Son, the big bad demon that has plagued and haunted Rich McCoy's life is dead, burnt to a crisp. So Rich convinced the kids to take the circus on the road. I haven't really worked out the logistics of getting the big top to Cairo and all of that, but somehow they got it. I mean, Rich probably flew it there himself. Um, so they're in Cairo, um, and they're only there for a little bit until the proverbial shit hits the fan. My X meets Y is The Mummy meets Weekend at Bernie's. It deals with mummies and dead gods and live gods wanting to resurrect dead gods, and it's just that zany shit show fun. I think it keeps up the humor and kinda, I don't know if you wanna call it dark comedy, but there's a sense of lightheartedness throughout. Yeah, I knew I wanted to involve mythology somehow. One of the best ever do it, Mike Mignola. You read Hellboy stuff, and I love how he ties in mythology and folk tales with original characters and all this stuff, and he's still faithful to source material that's centuries old. So as you'll see, even in the opening pages of The Lost Sun, I have an ash can around here somewhere. You'll see Osiris is murdered and chopped up into 14 pieces, which is the age old story about how his brother Seth killed him. So we're kind of pulling inspiration from Hellboy and my favorite pantheon, if you will, um, and tying it into this superhero world, and it was really fun to write. It's crazy, man. Comics take so damn long to make. I wrote this was initially called Shit Show International, and I wrote Shit Show and Shit Show International back to back, really. And
Oh,
once we
wow.
yeah,
So it's
so
been like it's been a few years then.
it's been nearly a decade already.
Oh,
It'll be
that
like
long. Okay.
so once we started getting to the art, I'm like, "Well, I've written a lot since then. Let me take a look at these scripts and see what I wanna tweak." So then I overhauled it a bit and came up with the story now. But yeah, man, I say it's The Mummy meets Weekend at Bernie's. If you like any of the mummies, whether it's Boris Karloff or Brendan Fraser, excuse me, or maybe not so much the Tom Cruise version. I'm not sure anyone liked that version.
I didn't see that one. I'm a big fan of the Rachel Weisz, Brendan Fraser one, though.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's got that type of vibe, and, we get into some pretty crazy shit, man. I always have this probably my biggest flaw as a writer, I would say, is I always try to make things or I have this desire to make things as realistic as possible. Like,
Okay.
if I'm writing something, I'm like, "Well, that would never happen in real life." And I
Yeah.
always have issues, like, telling myself, "Who gives a flying shit?" This is superheroes and gods. It doesn't need to be real,
Right.
do something. And that's what as Lost Sun progresses, you can kinda see me lose my mind a bit with how zany and crazy it gets.
No, I love it. Give me zany and give me crazy. What
Yeah, it's
I
like,
always
yeah.
I do the same thing where when I write and I think, like, I don't know how other writers do it. Like, I spend so much time, like, researching the most minuscule thing as if somebody. And then I think about was it Grant Morrison that had the quote about with Batman, somebody asking, like, "Well, who fills the air and the tires of the
Mm,
Batmobile?" And they were
yeah,
like, "It's a comic. They do. Who
yeah,
gives a shit?"
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just
No,
I was just like,
exactly,
"Yeah,
man.
okay. Just go on. Just keep going. Just write it. Make it fun. Make it make sense." I think I mean, if you think that getting bogged down in that type of stuff or that type of detail or worrying about it is like your biggest flaw. To go to the other end of it, I would say your like greatest strength that I think the dynamic between the McCoy kids is so good. I mean, it feels like siblings. They have each other's back and pick on each other and squabble. Like they do those good and bad things like just enough that they really feel like a group of kids that have lived all their lives together, even though I think they've probably just kind of been together with McCoy with Legend for the past like 10 years. But the dynamic you write between them, it feels very authentic. I really like it. It gives it really elevates the whole story. The fact that they'll in those little moments and I think the art does help it as well, of course. These characters really feel authentic. I think that's
Well,
great. I
thank
think
you, and,
so.
yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons, I wanted to kind of give each kid their own series, if you will, even though it's still very much the team book. I understand it's risky writing a Justice League type title and putting Superman on the back burner. But I mean, Rich is still very much involved in all the stories moving forward. It's just, I wanted to follow the stories of the kids, and as with they all met in the worst time of their lives.
Right.
All the McCoys met and came together probably in the worst time of the world. Um, so it's moving forward. There's very emotional story beats. I like to balance the humor and the zaniness, excuse me, with the more serious moments. I don't want it to be too sad, because I'm not that type of person at all. I
Yeah.
know when my wife and I first started talking, she's like, "You don't take anything seriously." I'm like, "I take some things seriously." Um, so I guess maybe that's my subconscious trying to prove that I take some stuff seriously with injecting some emotional story beats moving forward. I mean, Lost Son, you'll find out, how Rich came across Ash and how those two um got in contact.
Okay.
Um, it's not good feelings at all.
Right.
It's a demon destroyed an entire world essentially,
Yeah.
um, and left a whole bunch of kids orphans. But
Do you think? I mean, I just find that interesting because I feel like I um like I think when I think about writing as well, like I have my or pitching something if there's like an anthology. Not that I've written a lot, but just if there's like an anthology that has like open submissions, and I'm like my immediate thought is something very dark and serious. But my wife can't stand me because she says everything I do is a bit. And I and I like, it's not and I'm like, see, I need to reflect that more in my writing. Like, nothing needs to it doesn't need to always be, like, deadly serious and,
yeah,
like, an important topic, like, because, so I get that. I get that kind of dichotomy of either being that way or someone perceiving you that way, that you don't take anything seriously. Because I get it all the time that, like, everything I do in my home life is a bit. I mean, during the day, I'm an attorney, so I
yes.
can't do that in court.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
you could. It's just frowned
yeah,
upon, probably.
it is frowned upon, you know? I was a big Boston legal fan, but those tactics aren't always welcome in Delaware.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's the thing, man. Comedy's so hard to write. It's so difficult to write.
Yeah, oh,
It's
absolutely. I think it's the
so
hardest thing to write.
subjective. It's the hardest thing to write. You can tell a joke to 10 different people and you'll get 10 different reactions.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and especially in comics because, with stand-up comedy or television, movies, like, whatever it might be, like, there's so much of it that's in the timing, like, not, to how a joke is even said, how a certain
Mhm.
word is said, how the punchline lands, which is, like, in terms of, like, writing is super hard to control in a comic. Because how can you control the pace of how quickly someone, you know, reads something? Like, you really have to be if you're gonna try and do that in the dialogue, you really have to be, like, in sync with your artist and with your letterer to kinda get it down. And, there's certain, like, physical comedy types of things you can do visually in comics, but yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. So,
Absolutely.
anytime I find something where I find even a few moments where it's, like, laugh out loud funny, I feel like that's something really special, so
Yeah. One of my guilty pleasures for comics, and you'll see some if you take like online classes or read online articles and stuff. Um, a lot of people don't like talking heads, man. I'll say don't write talking heads. It's write action or or something like that. But my guilty pleasure is a good talking head where there's like a blank panel, characters talking, and there's a blank panel and we get their reaction. That's the type of stuff I'll eat up. Give me some of those Tom King 9 panel talking heads, and
Yeah.
I could read that all day.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, that was one of the speaking of Tom King, that was one of the things I did like in his if you read his Heroes in
Yeah.
Crisis, like when the characters he would do those 9-panel grids almost of like them in front of a camera, like a like reality TV
Yeah.
show confessional. I thought they were done so well. And who did the art for that? Was that Clay Mann? Um,
I don't remember.
but yeah, the art was phenomenal for all of those. But yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. I don't mind a good talking head in a comic. And so is this going to be another eventually like uh 3 issues like
Yes.
the original series?
Yep. For Lost Summer, doing exactly what we did with Shit Show. With how Wicked Salvation's kind of like the 3.5 to Shit Show's 3 issues.
Okay.
Um, we're doing Lost Sun 1 through 3, and then there's going to be an oversized one shot that spins off of it.
Okay.
But just between how much time and energy and money comics takes, I don't want to dedicate myself and overspend on a spin-off series when I want to do so much other stuff, you
Yeah.
know. Um but yeah, so Lost Sun 1 through 3, um a yet to be named 3.5. And we'll see.
Yeah.
Volume 3 and 4 are already written, and those are each 3 issues. Volume 5 will probably be 4 issues because it's essentially our first Riotverse crossover, or Riotverse event, if you will.
Oh
Um,
wow. All right.
so that's the foreseeable future, man. And that's not counting Keepers of the
Right.
Cosmos or Knock or House of Hans or Moonspawn and the Defenders of the Dark. What am I missing? Oh, that pulp team. We have one of the characters is getting an oversized one shot. All the art's done. We just got the final pages last week. What else? I'm missing something. Oh, and then I did the my first non superhero title. And we already have one issue done with that. It's just I don't know when it'll come to Kickstarter. Probably next year, maybe. So that is
Okay.
called Something Happened to Uncle Chuck.
Is that totally separate from like the McCoy
Yes.
universe?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's something
Maybe
totally
it's
different.
maybe it's like a Stephen King multiverse type of deal. I haven't decided. But,
Okay.
no, Uncle Chuck is the most ordinary man on the face of the planet. Um, he finds out he has terminal cancer, which launches heaven and hell into this battle for the right for his soul. But the problem is he's done as many good deeds um as many sins as he's committed. So his soul's essentially balanced. So the story's quite literally like an angel and devil on his shoulder trying to convince him to do right and wrong before he dies so they can lay claim to his soul and win the eternal war between heaven and hell.
Okay. I love that idea. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's very shit show esque as well.
Yeah.
It's certainly not an all ages title.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the artist with it could probably draw one hell of an all ages book. So it's this weird dichotomy, you know. Um, no, I love that, man. That's some things just come very easy to write.
Yeah.
And that's one of the few things I've written in its entirety before we even started the art. Um, I usually like some covers or something to kind of use as like visual development that I'll pull up on my computer and look at for inspiration and things like that.
Sure.
but I wanted this whole series written from beginning to end before we started art. I have a good feeling about it. We'll see. We'll see the response. We already have like all this stuff ready for Kickstarter, so maybe we'll drop it this year yet. I don't know, but it's
That sounds awesome.
pretty
I
damn
I
good.
like the concept of it.
Yeah.
Then do you, are you waiting to say who the artist is you worked with?
No, so Gino, he's changing the name he wants credited in. I don't
Okay.
know which name or Gino is his first name. I know it's
All right.
Gino. If you know Jonathan Hedrick's Capable,
Yeah,
he's the
sure.
artist on that. I'm not sure if
Okay.
he did every issue, but I know he's done some issue or some
Nice.
issues with Jonathan, and that's actually how I met
Yeah.
him. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so he's doing something. Oh man, he's working on something else for me too, and I totally forgot about. He, he's doing something happened to Uncle Chuck, and then he's doing a book called Shadewood, which is a Rideverse thing. It's kind of our Strange Academy or Harry Potter.
Okay.
Um, but it's also very 2025, and the villains are Red Hat, mega anti-magic people. It's
Okay.
it's I was in a mood when I started writing it,
All right.
and reading the news just fuels my writing of it more.
Okay. Well,
Um,
I'm here for it. I love all this stuff.
yeah.
So,
So I don't know when any of this I know the next one's Lost Sun, and
yeah.
that's May into June. After Lost Sun, we are going to do Moonspawn #1, which that's another killer one. Jod Nuari, is the artist on that. It was going to be Federica Manchin. Those keeping up. Federica won a Marvel contest, and now she's drawing Blade and
Yeah.
all other
Yeah.
stuff. So
She's
Federica cannot draw Moonspawn, unfortunately.
okay.
She did, however, draw 3 covers for Lost Sun. Um, we're gonna do a die cut cover. We're gonna try doing a die cut cover. Um,
Really?
yeah,
Like,
Raw has, I don't even know if I should be saying this because I don't know if we can do it. But
okay.
the vision, keep the vision with me. Ra has a sword called Surbane, and there's like the outer, if you can imagine, the outer cover is like him kneeling with Surbane on the ground. And the idea is to have the sword be cut out, so it's exposing the cover underneath, and the cover underneath is Ash fighting Ra. Um, so I hope we can pull it together. If not,
Ooh.
we're just gonna have 3 covers. That's 3 different covers from one
Yeah.
artist. Um, so Moonspawn will be this late summerish, July,
Okay.
August, and then I don't know what we're ending the year with. I
All
wanna
right.
do 4 a year,
Okay. That's the
just to
goal.
prove it to myself that it's doable.
Yeah.
We're very on I mean, almost all the artwork's done, so it's just a matter of putting the Kickstarter together and the things that come with it.
And so, in terms of other things that you're doing to kind of like keep up with the comic side of it, because I know I see you on like social media and you have a newsletter, right?
Mhm. Yes, sir. Meltdownpress.substack.com.
Yeah, I'll put links to everything in the show notes. And I know I see you active on some of the discords. We're in a comic creator hangout one, which is I can't keep up like the speed at which some people are on and
No.
talking about it. I will say though, like if anyone who's listening who like wants to write comics and hasn't yet or wants to draw comics or whatever it might be, like the Travis Gibbs one, the comic creator hangout one, it's unbelievably helpful, like, because there's
Yes.
so many folks on it, and you're just like even, like, mundane things. Because like, I mean, I love comics, I've read so many of them, but
Mhm.
when you actually start putting something together, and especially I am not an artist, and trying to make up little graph if you wanna do a Kickstarter and, like, you know, I hired somebody to make up the little graphics because I can't do, like, any of that stuff. But then, you know, uh you what printer to use, and there's
Yeah.
folks that are a Comic Book Yeti has one as well, and we're trying to build that up too, but hey, what printer does everybody use? And what type of paper should I print my
Ooh.
comic on? Or, what podcast should I go to promote it on? Is it worth doing Facebook ads? Like whatever it might be. Like so many people are so helpful. It's unreal. You know, it
For
really is great.
stressful of an industry as comics is, the community's great, man. If you could get in with the community, if you're a creator listening to this, add Travis on Facebook because he opens up invites, I don't know,
Yeah.
once a month or something. There's, I think, uh, what's the what Andy Schmidt's website, Comics Experience.
Comics experience. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a Discord.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure there's others.
Yeah.
You said Comic Book Yeti. But man, just get in with the community. Most people are very welcoming. I am entertained by the fights that happen every so
Me too.
often. But yeah, but
Yeah.
just find a community and bounce ideas off. I'll drop random ideas. It's just good to have you know a, a soundboard or something. Just to
At the very least, even
yeah.
if you don't need advice or help, um it is nice just to have folks to bounce ideas off of. Um I wanted to ask you before we get going, because I know you've written for, I don't know if you still do, I apologize, but I know you've written for different, like, comic
Mhm.
websites as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
No, I'm not as of 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so it is
It's
recent at
relatively recent. I wrote for comicbook.com 8 years about,
oh, wow.
and that was like a full-time job. Uh,
Mhm.
Crazy, man. Crazy stuff, corporate shenanigans. Um, we were once owned by Paramount and got free Paramount Plus. Never used it because of what's on Paramount Plus. Um, and then Paramount sold.
Not a Star Trek fan?
Not a Star Trek fan. No, I've always
Okay.
wanted to. I did watch the first season of Discovery, and that was really, but
That's funny.
but Paramount sold the site to somebody else, and a bunch of people left. And I'm like, okay, well, I see where this is going, so I also left. Got on with CVR as an editor, overseeing the comics news and reviews, and then that position got eliminated 2 weeks ago. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm just hanging out, man. I have a 9 to 5. I had a 9 to 5, while working on CBR at CBR, but I don't mind it, man. You see him, growing family back there. Our little guy turns 1 on this weekend. 420, man. We had a 420 baby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
My
so
Well,
it's
happy birthday to the little
yes.
guy.
Yeah, all the
My
way in
sister-in-law,
Georgia.
that's her birthday as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
We
she's running she is, uh, spending Easter in Boston because, so shout out to my brother Bobby, who's the Cryptid Creator Corner's #1 most dedicated fan. I shout out Bobby on all the episodes, but his wife, Lindsay, her 40th birthday is 420, and then she is running the Boston Marathon. So,
I will be eating cheesy potatoes and ham. Very much the marathon
yeah,
enthusiast.
but, well, that's exciting. So he's won on, this weekend. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's one, man, and, I wanna spend as much time as I can with him.
Yeah,
So,
that's
a 9 to 5 is perfectly alright with me. I wanna keep writing these comics and kickstarting them and doing what I can, and, yeah, we'll see the goals for Kickstarters this year, man. I wanna publicly say that as many times as I can just to kinda hold myself accountable.
yep.
Um,
I'll check in with you throughout the year on Discord. I'll
Please
just
do.
be
I
like,
mean, I see
"Adam,
all these.
where
I
we
mean,
at?
we
Where
see
we
these
at,
guys.
Adam?"
I mean, Pat Shan runs 50 a year. You have Charlie up there that's running has a new
Yeah.
campaign once a week, it seems like.
Travis runs a bunch, you
Travis
know?
runs monthly campaigns. So I want to
Yeah.
do 4. I'm going to start with 4, and that's
That's
more than
awesome.
enough for me, I think.
Alright. And so just before I know I'm going over the time a little bit, and I'm sure you gotta go, but one other question I wanted to ask just in my research. So I found out you're not the Adam Barnhart that does comedy and teaches comedy classes, but I did have another question that came up in my internet research. Um, are you the Adam Barnhardt that worked for I'm gonna butcher this name, I know it. The Bemidji Axemen?
Yes, I am. I am that. No, you said that perfectly, and yes, I am that
All
Adam
right,
Barnhardt.
I got it.
You said that was my life prior to entertainment journalism, man. Arena
Oh, okay.
football.
A real
Um,
indoor arena
Indoor
football, right?
arena football, yeah, they roll out, the field across the ice rink and play football, man. If you want a good time, if you it's like football by way of a monster truck rally.
Oh,
It's it's
wow.
it's like I don't wanna compare it to, like, the Savannah Bananas or Harlem Globetrotters, but it's really that
Yeah,
really good entertainment, but also behind the scenes, if you've ever seen Semi-Pro, with Will Ferrell, it's very much that. I
okay.
have seen players get traded for washing machines or a stock of footballs. The team
That's
runs out of
wild.
footballs and they need more. The
Yeah, I don't think
players when I was doing it, the players made like $200 a game. Um,
really?
yeah,
That's wow.
yeah, yeah, it was crazy. So I worked for that team when I was 21 years old as general manager, and, I thought I knew what I was doing at the time, and 12 years later, it's very apparent I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Really?
Yeah, it was man, who would have thought?
Yeah. Philly had an arena football team. I don't think they do anymore, but I don't even know if the league's around, but when arena football happened, Philly had the Philadelphia Soul,
John Bon
and I
Jovi, man.
yeah, yeah, Bon Jovi, and I think Ron Jaworski, old
Yep,
Philadelphia Eagle, I
yep,
think Jaws was, also, one of the owners, but yeah, I went to a bunch of, Soul games. And, they were a lot of fun. They were a ton of fun. I
yeah,
always had
and
a good
usually
time there.
I mean, for our team, the tickets started at, like, $10.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's crazy not to. I recommend it if you live by I don't even know what leagues are around anymore, and I know the indoor football leagues still kick in. Um, that's mostly Midwest, maybe? I don't even
Okay.
know, but
Huh.
yeah,
Well,
that was a
that's
previous life, man.
alright. Well, sorry to dredge up a past life,
No,
but
it's fine. I lived in hotels and ate ramen noodles for 4 years straight. It's totally
really?
fine. No trauma at all.
Alright. Yeah, yeah. None whatsoever. But I thought it was fitting with Lost Son, kinda had a bit of a past life kinda vibe, so
Yeah. Yeah, look at it, it's all connected, man.
Adam, thank you so much.
No.
I've
Thanks for
been
having me.
a fan. I know we've been in some of, like, the same circles and discords and chatted before, a little bit online, but it's really nice to get to talk to you, and, yeah, I have a global comics thing, and just before this, I made sure I caught up on all the stuff again, and I really, really love it. It was a really good time reading all of them. I enjoyed them. I'm very much looking forward to Lost Son, and, I'll check in every once in a while.
Please
Just,
do.
"Hey, when's number 2 coming?"
Yeah.
For a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll probably be an annual release, hopefully. I don't We actually do plan on having 2 and 3 of Lost Son out next year.
Awesome,
We'll
awesome.
see.
Well,
Who knows?
thank you very much, and, enjoy, your son's birthday this weekend as we record this. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy your ham and cheesy potatoes,
Thank you.
as well. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. For Comic Book Yeti, the Cryptid Creator Corner, I'm Jimmy Gasparo, and my guest has been Adam Barnhart. I will have links in the show notes so you can follow Adam on social media. You can check out Global Comics, and catch up on some of the stuff if you have a subscription there, and we'll put a link so that you'll be able to go and either check out the pre-launch page or, depending on when he launches and when this come out, if it's already out, you'll be able to go check out the campaign and back Lost Son #1. I'm sure they'll probably have a catch-up tier on,
Mhm.
all his other
Absolutely.
campaigns had, so you can catch up on anything you might have missed. Especially one of the things I will say about Adam, not only does he work with great collaborators, some wonderful artists, colorists, letterers, but he usually has some great cover artists. Like, I'm usually like a cover A type of person just to have it, but like I said earlier, I had to get that Juan Angel Snake Root cover. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So Adam, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Lost Son has not one but two One Angel covers, and they're
I can't wait
nice.
to see him. All right. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
This is Byron O'Neill, one of your hosts of the Cryptid Creator Corner, brought to you by Comic Book Yeti. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of our podcast. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. It lets us know how we're doing, and more importantly, how we can improve. Thanks for listening.